Кусочек мяса от ляжки отрезал.
I cut off a piece of meat from his thigh
Отварил.
and boiled it.
Угостил мясом одного приятеля.
I gave some meat to one of my friends. He took it home, gave it to his wife.
Жена наготовила пельмени.
She made dumplings with it. She had some herself and fed it to her children.
In 1997, the city of Novocheboksarsk in the Republic of the Federation witnessed something horrific. 38-year-old Vladimir Nikolayev was a citizen of this town who was giving the kangaroo meat for free to his friends as a good deed. Customers came in without a shred of doubt in their minds to grab some exotic meat at a low price. It was a good deal until someone realized there was something wrong with that meat, and the truth that came out upon a doctor's evaluation was beyond imagination. Was the meat simply rotten, or was there something more sinister than it looked? Welcome back to Mysterious 7. I'm Michael. Stay with me to find out how the story gets creepier as it unfolds. Our story unfolds in the town of Novocheboksarsk in the Chuvashia Republic, located in the Russian European territory. The offbeat place is located on the southern riverbed of the Volga River, a mere 3 kilometers away from Cheboksary. This satellite city holds a population of over 1.2 lakhs. At present, it is a completely industrial city, but the history of this place goes way back to 1960. On the 16th of March 1956, a couple in Novocheboksarsk, Russia, was blessed with a baby boy who they named Vladimir Nikolaevich Nikolayev. Other than he went off the rails pretty early in his life, when he was 21 years old, he started to steal. And in 1980, Nikolayev was first arrested and convicted of theft and robbery. After that, trouble with the law was a constant occurrence in Nikolayev's life. He had an extensive criminal history and was arrested numerous times throughout his life. He generally stayed free for 2 to 3 months, and during the final crime, he was out for just 7 months. Nikolayev had trouble handling his social life, too. According to the people around him, he was a comprehensive case of antisocial personality. He hardly communicated with anyone and had very few friends. From an early age, Nikolayev had psychopathic tendencies, which were never properly diagnosed. Regular mental breakdowns were a common scenario for him, which made it impossible for him to hold a job for long. In many instances, Nikolayev was admitted to psychiatric institutions, but there were no visible improvements. He worked through countless different jobs. Every job seemed like a new start for him, but in the end, he was either fired from the job or quit on his own due to his unstable mental condition. Nikolayev was not good in relationships either. Just like the jobs, he was poor at holding on to relationships too. Just like most social misfits, his all-time companion was alcohol. His acquaintances described him as unsociable, withdrawn, drunk, and rowdy. And his alcohol addiction had an important part to play in the following events that we are going to talk about in a bit. Around the time of 1977, Russia was going through a bumpy phase. The economic collapse was hard on everyone. It was at this difficult time when 38-year-old Nikolayev, a permanent resident of Novocheboksarsk city, was struggling to make a living for himself due to his frequent jail visits and alcohol addiction. In May 1997, Nikolayev went to attend a party. He then left the party in a drunken state at midnight. He was walking back to his home in Novocheboksarsk. After the long walk, when Nikolayev finally reached his home, he saw a man coming toward him. It was one of his drinking buddies, who also had a criminal record of his own. The buddy asked him for a lighter but showed Nikolayev a rude attitude, which sparked an argument between them. Nikolayev expressed that he did not like the behavior, and the argument soon turned into a fistfight, in which Nikolayev accidentally killed the man. Nikolayev thought that the killing was unintentional and accidental, but nobody knew the truth considering the events that followed. Nikolayev carried the body to his 4th-floor apartment bedroom and undressed him. It seemed like Nikolayev did not even realize that he had killed his friend. After dragging his buddy to the bedroom, Nikolayev tried to revive him with cold water. When he didn't respond for a long time, Nikolayev realized the consequences of the fatal blow to the head caused his buddy to lose his life. What Nikolayev did next sends a chill down the spine of everyone who listens to it. Nikolayev was left with 2 choices once he realized the man was dead. He could either call the authorities or get rid of the body. And without even hesitating, he chose the second option, so he decided to dissect the body. A ghastly idea popped up in Nikolayev's sick mind once he started dismembering the body. He decided to taste the human meat, and for this reason he cut a chunk of meat from the thigh part. He first boiled the piece of meat and went on to fry it when he did not like the taste of the boiled meat. But the horrors did not end there, as he went on to give the meat to his wife. Nikolayev's wife made meatballs from it, ate some of it, and served it to their children for dinner. Although nobody got sick, the taste was different from normal meat. However, his wife got suspicious, but human flesh was never on her mind. Nikolayev brushed it off, saying that it was kangaroo meat. He even gave some of the meat to his friend to feed his family. The friend's wife then made dumplings from it without knowing what it was. The monster in him did not stop there. He went as far as to sell 5 kilos of human meat in an open market, telling customers that it was exotic meat. He bought alcohol with the money that came from selling the meat. The ruse was only discovered when a woman became suspicious about the taste and sent it to a professional to identify the meat. And the doctor's report concluded that the product, which Nikolayev procured as saga trimmings, definitely involved human flesh and blood. The police were contacted when the test results came out showing human traces in the mincemeat sold by Nikolayev. In the winter of 1997, 38-year-old Vladimir Nikolayev was arrested from his home in Novocheboksarsk. Police found a pan of roasted human meat on the stove. A sheet containing human flesh and a blood-stained bathtub was also found at the home. The bathtub was used as a cutting table, and in some places the enamel was worn off and blood was deeply ingrained. On the balcony beneath the snow, there were more bloody parts stored for later usage. If the crime scene was not gut-wrenching enough, it is alleged that during interrogation, Nikolayev joked around, telling the officers to prepare his dinner from the human meat stock he left at home. Nikolayev did not take long to confess to his crime. There was no sign of guilt in his voice. He was rather proud of it. During the court proceedings, it was revealed that he had killed yet another man, once again a drinking buddy, after he liked the experiment of consuming human flesh. He was convicted under Articles 105, 152, and 162 of the Criminal Code of the Russian Federation. Though the cannibalism rate is somewhat higher in Russia, this case was still considered the rarest of the rare due to the lack of remorse of the killer. People were stunned to see how barbaric the crime was and how little Nikolayev cared about human lives. He even stated that he was not guilty and that he would have continued cannibalism if he wasn't arrested. Upon considering all the accounts, in July 1997, the judge sentenced Vladimir Nikolayev to death. Nikolayev stated that he was against the death penalty and that it was an inhumane form of punishment, but he would prefer execution for himself rather than continue living in a prison cell for the rest of his life. Nikolayev's own brother had expressed delight over the death penalty. However, the victim's family thought that the death penalty was too mild and an easy gateway for the killer. Much to their delight, after just 2 years of sentencing, capital punishment was commuted to life imprisonment due to the abolishment of capital punishment in Russia. In 2001, Nikolayev was transferred to the infamous K6 Black Dolphin prison near the border of Kazakhstan. Only 300 miles away from Moscow, this prison is home to Russia's most dangerous criminals and holds the reputation of being one of the most extreme prisons to ever exist. The notorious cannibal killer, having been living there for the past 21 years to survive on bread and soup and say yes, sir, to every command. Nikolayev was featured in some documentaries over the years. The most notable of them is Russia's Toughest Prison by National Geographic in 2011. When the interviewer asked Nikolayev how the murder happened, he couldn't care less while describing the incident. When asked if he always wanted to taste human meat, Nikolayev claimed that cannibalism was never his original idea and only occurred to him out of the blue when he was dismembering the body. He gave a sickening laugh, telling the documentary filmmakers about the urge to try him. He went on, "I cut a piece of meat from his thigh and boiled it. I tried it. I didn't like it, so I chopped it up and fried it in a frying pan." While the interviewer felt like throwing up, Nikolayev's eyes lit up as he relived those moments. He never showed even a bit of remorse and continued laughing while describing the events. The name, the Laughing Cannibal, fits him as it is. He was also overexcited to describe how he fooled his friend while giving him free meat. "I said it was kangaroo. We don't have kangaroos around here, so they didn't know what it was," Nikolayev said with a smirk on his face. Although the most disgusting things came out of his mouth every time he sat for an interview, it was interesting to gain an insight into a psychopath's head. However, he kept demanding cakes, cigarettes, and other items for every interview, so eventually they stopped interviewing him. As of 2022, Vladimir the Cannibal is alive and well, still residing in a cell at Black Dolphin Prison in Russia. It is super scary to know that such cannibalistic creatures still exist. Cannibalism is certainly one of the most heinous crimes against humanity. The fact that Nikolayev never hesitated to feed on his victims, felt no remorse for it afterward, and even laughed while relishing the crimes makes him inhuman. Do you think he should have gone from society for good? Or maybe spending his days in a dark cell is fitting for him? Let us know what you think of this terrible crime. Thank you for joining us today. Stay tuned for more videos like this. Comment down below if you want to learn about more compelling stories like this. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Mysterious 7 for more episodes.